right, it's time. Let's talk Angelina Jolie background. I did such extensive research. You don't even know. You don't even know. Oh, you think this is there are things that I must talk about and I must write them down. But did you know that Angelina Jolie dated Mick Jagger? The, and people say pop culture is a waste of time for the things you learn about the culture and what people are capable of. So Angelina Jolie is a Gemini. The end. No, I'm just kidding. So I realized that somebody born in the early 2000s and even later, that they don't see Angelina Jolie the way that I do. Someone born in 1990, the beginning of the 90s, right? Angelina Jolie was not this humanitarian, very private, graceful person that we see in the media all the time. She was very much the embodiment of like rock and roll. Like I don't like wild child. Like she was like this like tiger-eyed bisexual party girl. However, insanely talented. She was Tomb Raider. Have you seen Tomb Raider? Everybody wants to talk about Jennifer's body. I want you to watch Tomb Raider. Angelina Jolie with her little English accent. She killed it. That woman is so talented. But anyway, I just want to start like that with that. Like Angelina Jolie was very much seen as like she was pure, like pure. Nobody. At one point, she was the most famous person in Hollywood. She was. She was the you could not get more famous than Angelina Jolie at one point. So these are Angelina Jolie's parents, John Voight and Marceline. Apparently Marceline was like the kindest person in the entire world. Many people describe her as like an earth angel. And they were married for 10 years. They had Angelina Jolie's brother and then Angelina. So Angelina Jolie's parents divorced after a decade of being together because John Voight had an affair. He was also an established movie star throughout Angelina's childhood. And he said that this affair caused a lot of pain and a lot of hurt within his family. Can you just do me a favor and go on Google and Google John Voight video and see the kind of things that he believes in? I'm trying to keep it real vague, but I'm sure people will talk about it in the comments too. So John Voight co-wrote a film and Angelina was starring the film. It's like her first time she was in a movie at the age of 7. It's also the last time she ever used his last name because they had a terrible relationship and she said she didn't want to be famous because of a name, like a lot. So part 2, Angelina Jolie, backstory, life story, background, before we start talking about other relationships that she's been in, because there was a little bit of too much hate in my Brangelina recast, but I just want to talk about her life because I think it's very interesting. So because John Voight had an affair and during his marriage to her mother, Marceline, Angelina Jolie said in many interviews that she never thought that she'd ever be in a relationship or find somebody that she actually loved or like believed in actual love, because this idea of this fairy tale for her was broken at a very young age. She started acting at the age of 7, but something interesting that I think that I've read about, Angelina over and over and over again in many interviews says that acting was her ultimate passion from a child, her ultimate dream. And John Voight has also said in many interviews he had no idea that his daughter wanted to be an actress. It was actually Angelina Jolie's mother that kept pushing her to chase her dream and was telling her, "You're so talented, you should do this, you should chase this dream, you should work on this." So something else that is more evidence that they were very tumultuous, father and daughter, is every single bio of Angelina Jolie says that after the divorce, even though he was an Oscar-winning actor, super, super like wanted in Hollywood, right, sought after in Hollywood, that she lived with her mother and brother, Angelina, living off her mother's very modest income. And in order to help with bills, Angelina Jolie would try to get acting gigs. So that's inclination enough that perhaps I don't want to insinuate anything about being absent and negligent. But to me, that sounds, Angelina Angelina Jolie went to Beverly Hills High, and I hear that and I think, oh, she was Cher and Clueless. She was a loner, completely isolated herself, didn't have any friends. Apparently, she was severely bullied because she had braces, and they would make fun of her big lips. Can you imagine? Are you joking? When people think about like lips today, they think Kylie Jenner, Angelina Jolie, blueprint. I'm in the pink print. Okay, not right now. So this theater and film school is like iconic. I mean, James Dean, Marilyn Monroe, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, a bunch of iconic legendary people studied there. But Angelina Jolie also dropped out of high school when she was 14. And so we're talking about teenage Angelina Jolie, and she was a very troubled kid. Obviously, her father was most likely her first heartbreak. This is part 3, by the way. Part 3. Should have started with that. Hi, this is part 3. Okay, so anyway, I have a very hard time imagining someone bullying this gorge. I need to find a baby picture of Angelina Jolie. Do you ever meet somebody and you're like, your baby pictures must be disgustingly cute? And she looked like a disgustingly cute baby. The kind of baby you're like this, you're so cute, I want to rip your little arms off, you're so beautiful, like that, right? So people made fun of her because of her big lips, her braces, whatever. When she's 14, her mother allows her to drop out of school and move in with a punk boyfriend, right? And Angelina Jolie tells interviewers, like, my mom let me, because I don't think she wants it to come across like she was some like runaway. But during this time, hello, she's 14. Like, what do you do when you're like rock and roll at 14? She dyed her hair purple, right? She started doing droga. She has gone on many interviews and said, I've done everything that you can imagine, droga-wise. Okay? I'm scared to say the real word because Mr. Tiki Toki and we are frenemies like Lauren and Heidi. So, right, she's doing a little dabbling. Okay. She also reportedly becomes obsessed with, not a fork, but that play. So she's like, starts collecting and, dark stuff. Ya tú sabes, right? Ya tú sabes. She also says that around this time in her life, this is where her lifelong battle with insomnia begins. And, she, starts a battle with anorexia. She even had a nervous breakdown at one point and was admitted to UCLA hospital on a 72-hour psychiatric hold, which there's nothing to be ashamed of that. But obviously what I'm saying is she was emotionally in a very dark place as a kid, and she didn't have it easy, and she had all these dreams. But she was wrapped up in other things, and she started to self-harm. So she was obviously dealing with a lot of pain that she could not feel relief from unless she was being reckless or hurting herself. And that breaks my little heart. Have you seen a 14-year-old? They're children, and I can't imagine a child feeling that much and feeling like they couldn't talk to anybody while having a broken heart about their family and what happened with her father. Also, she did an interview with Barbara Walters, but she said that she likes to bring the opposite of forks into the boudoir. What? Wow, the sound on that last video is pretty shitty, huh? Anyway, part 4. So Angelina Jolie obviously gets into a better place than where we left off the last video. Starts becoming a serious actress. She did not become like a superstar, I want to say, until Gia. If you have not seen the movie Gia, run, don't walk. It's a true story about a supermodel who unfortunately passed away due to her issues with addiction. But Angelina, remember with Heath Ledger, how Heath Ledger said that the Joker, may he rest in power, devastating. How he said about the Joker that it took him to a dark place. So Angelina Jolie said something similar, but she said that her and Gia were so similar that it was either going to release her from some demons or fuck with her head. And it was the latter. She dove deep into partying and drug use for a very long time. In fact, Angelina Jolie's dealer did an interview with Life and Style. I want to say 2010. In 2010, about how when she was doing promo for Girl Interrupted, Gone in 60 Seconds. Oh, I was eating a rice cake. Gone in 60 Seconds and Girl Interrupted. Angelina Jolie as a blonde. Hot. Bitch, hot. Said that when she was doing promo and she was about to go on Charlie Rose, he was with her before doing, and she came over immediately after. And a year later, she was asked about it on 60 Minutes while she was in Budapest. Let me double check. Yo, I'm fucking killing it right now. Okay, so she asked about this interview, and she said that there are many people that did not survive past a certain time in their lives because of the recklessness that they were doing, and that she should also not be alive because of the extent of experimenting that she did during this time in her life. I want to say after Gia and Girl Interrupted, it was like next level. I want you to imagine like motorcycle, like hot, okay? And she was publicly dating this Calvin Klein model, Jenny Shimizu. She was fucking cool, okay? Angelina was fucking cool. She was like the coolest. It's like Zoe Kravitz on like steroids. Like I can't even explain it to you. Watch Tomb Raider. So I'm going to skip some stuff. I'm going to skip Billy Bob because I want to do a whole other series on Billy Bob. So I'm going to skip some stuff. So we will get to the limousine and the vials. We will. But first I want to talk about part 5, Angelina Jolie backstory info. Who looks like this as a teenager? What the fuck? Anyway, part 5. I just wanted to show this photo. So Angelina Jolie lived very recklessly. By reckless, I just mean spontaneous, rule breaking, and those rules that she took on were also people who got away with living like that and that were hot because of that, you know? She very much took on roles of like, and she's not a stupid person at all. None of these were like bimbo. These were calculated, sexy people. So the incredibly hot movie, Tomb Raider, comes out. And if you've seen Tomb Raider, you know that her father, Jon Voight, has like a cameo in it, playing her dead dad, who comes as like memories, like flashbacks, and also comes to her within a vision. Apparently that scene where he comes to her lovingly and like protectively, like dad feelings, was very healing for them. And she really at that point was like, I want to have a dad. It breaks my heart. So they have a very healing time, and they bond a lot during this time. And Angelina Jolie said in an interview that on the way to the airport, they were in a car, and they were talking, and before he got out of the car, he goes, I wrote you a letter, and I just want you to know that the way that I feel is unchanging. And she said, oh, okay. And they hugged and kissed goodbye. And she read the letter, and the letter was basically a long reasons as to why she is a bad person. And she said that she was so heartbroken that in that moment she decided that we are no longer father and daughter, because the trust there was never going to be there. She was always going to look at him as somebody who thought of her as this evil, terrible person. And that may be why when all the Brangelina stuff was happening, she didn't give a fuck that the world thought that she was this like temptress mistress, because she's been called a bad person her whole life by somebody who was meant to protect her. She cut him off. They stopped speaking. Jon Voight decides it's a great idea to release a public plea begging his daughter to please seek psychiatric help because she is unwell. That all he wants in his life, he's crying saying this, all he wants in his life is to be able to hold his baby girl and protect her. That he tried his best with her, and he's sorry that within trying his best, he hurt her. This is after she divorces Billy Bob. Please remember that I'm going to get back to that, but that's going to be a whole other series because he happened to have a fiance when they got married. Oh. I just want to, so this is part 6. I just want to say, as I think we've all, how do I say this? We've all experienced some kind of heartbreak from our parents, whether they were amazing parents or not. The people in our lives, even from early on, that's how we learn about people and how we love people, right? People break our hearts, and I'm sure that we've broken our parents' hearts many times. However, I do think that people with a father wound, like Angelina Jolie, hold on to whatever love a male figure provides her with, because it is fleeting, and maybe she wants to feel like she is good, maybe she feels like, oh, this person recognizes that I am good from everything that Jon Voight put her through. And what I'm going to say now is something I feel like I've experienced. Am I comparing myself to Angelina Jolie? What about it? Huh? Why don't you take the opportunity? I will also say that I will also say that within this series, I haven't talked about her mom. Apparently, Angelina Jolie said that she has never and will never trust anyone. The only person that she has ever trusted was her mom, and she passed away sadly at the age of 56 from breast cancer. And if you Google that, you will see that Angelina Jolie lost a lot of weight, and there was a lot of speculation on her weight loss. I remember specifically a photo of her legs, and I don't want to post it because I don't want to trigger anybody, and it's very, very sad. I cannot imagine the only person that you feel really knows you and sees you, and your protector who always believed in you, passes away. That being said, she has said many times she'll never trust anybody, that she never lets anybody in. Apparently, around the time of her divorce from Brad Pitt, she said that Brad Pitt was the only person that she talked to, so this was especially difficult for her. That Brad Pitt was her only friend. But that does not go... Brad Pitt was accused of cheating on Angelina Jolie when he did a movie with Marion Cotillard, the French woman that she's an actress. She was in Batman. She played Edith Piaf in a movie. Angelina Jolie apparently hired a PI to follow Brad around. And while his infidelity was not proven, apparently shit went down. And now she's connecting with an old friend, Ellen Pompeo. What? Besties, apparently. So, Angelina, part 7.
This is part 7 of my Angelina Jolie series. Welcome back.
So, Angelina Jolie, Girl Interrupted. She's been very vocal her entire career about mental illness and about LGBTQ, because she is a B. It feels like I'm calling her a bitch. She's bisexual. And she's been extremely open about it her entire career. The only thing that she is not open about and will not discuss really is the relationship with her father. They apparently kind of reconciled around 2017. And she reportedly told him, like, you can be the funny, cool, distant, creative grandfather, and that's it. But when I tell you that boundaries are in place in that relationship, it's actually inspiring, because I don't know, when I read about her life, if I could forgive the kind of emotional manipulation and the gaslighting, victim blaming a lot in his relationship with his daughter. Angelina Jolie also said that the only time in her life that her heart really felt open is when she started having children, and that she believed finally that maybe she was capable of having love and trust in her relationships.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I truly do believe that when she met Brad Pitt, that she believed that she met a soulmate. I think that the way that she talks about relationships, I don't think that she would have crossed that line ever if she hadn't had the kind of relationship with her dad that basically, if they're paying attention to me, maybe they can see that I'm good, you know? And Brad Pitt really, really, I mean, kind of left his life behind to be with her. And it actually makes me sad because a lot of people don't know that Jennifer Aniston didn't talk to her mom for over a decade. Very strained relationship with her mom. So when I think about Jennifer Aniston going through all of this, I would think if I was in Jennifer's situation, I would go straight to my mommy. And Jennifer didn't have that. So I think what I'm trying to say is if we don't heal our wounds, we will eventually unintentionally trigger the wounds within other people too. So, okay. I have never met Angelina, Jennifer, Brad a day in my life, but here I am talking. So I'm skipping over Billy Bob because I'm going to do a series on that, but let's talk about her brother because you can be as hurt and as wonderful as you want to be, but that is still weird. Okay, Angie? Let's talk about Angelina Jolie's brother, James. First and foremost, James looks identical to Angelina Jolie's mom that we showed in part 1 of the Angelina series, right? I believe this is part 9. I can see the similarity, right? Okay. Twinning. Okay, so the year is, let's get rid of this. The year is 2000, okay? Angelina Jolie is nominated for an Oscar, and she's already becoming a big name because she won a Golden Globe and an Emmy for her role in Gia, okay? Fine, let's show some Girl Interrupted pics too, because I love the maying of the Girl Interrupted era. I see this picture, I'm like, I wanna be bad. Ooh, you make that look so good. Okay, so back to James. So it's an exciting night. Okay, she wins the Oscar. And she's 24, a 24-year-old with an Oscar. You know what I won at the age of 24? A parking ticket. So James was her date, and she wins Best Supporting Actress, right? So in her speech, I'm in shock, and I'm so in love with my brother right now. And everybody's like, what? And she goes on, she's like, he said he loved me, and he just told me he loved me, and he held me, and I know he's so happy for me, like, I'm so happy right now. And then everyone's like, oh, okay, that's better, okay. But then Angelina Jolie gives him this, like, long kiss. Like, people are like, oh, well, a quick kick in the lips, because that's what I would do. If one of my siblings, no, everyone's like, oh, it's probably like a quick peck. And they're like, no, this was a long kiss. Also, the first time I posted about this, a lot of people were like, oh, well, she's European. She's not European. And European people kiss their brothers all the time. If you want to kiss your brother, just say that. The issue with the smooch is that this was not the first time that they had locked lips. They kissed already like this at the Golden Globes earlier that year. I have never in my life, I could see, TikTok's even like, no, I've never in my life kissed my brother like that. Ever. Whatever, apparently they are very close friends to this day, and he even was like the nanny for her kids. And we talked about how Angelina Jolie has a hard time trusting people, so that must have been wonderful. And he was also a film director, and it's still weird. It's still weird. I want to make it right. You know me, Sensi, I want to make it right. It's just weird. I don't know. Okay, so let's talk about it. I am not surprised at all, and I'm going to tell you why. So if you've been watching the Angelina background series that I just did, what have we learned about Angelina Jolie? Issues with trust, issues with dealing with her darkness. I feel like she's a very dark person. And for a good reason. I think she was lost a lot. And Abel, Canadian Abel, is a Scorpio. And I think she's a mom of 6, and she's a wild child at heart. Her humanitarian efforts are incredible, but she's a wild child at heart, and she's even said, like, that is still within me. I'm just a mom of 6, you know? And I get it. The weekend seems to me perfect. Perfect. Somebody, do you know any Scorpios in your life? Like my mom's a Scorpio. Some of my best friends are Scorpios. I love myself a Scorpio. I can meet a Scorpio's eye across the room and we're both like rock and roll. And Scorpios are like, you're not that rock and roll. And I'm like, but I appreciate your rock and rollness. So when I think, and she's a Gemini, a lot of talking. She wants to share, but she has those trust issues. And the Scorpio is hocus pocus, like, I put a spell on you, and now you're mine. The mom in Hocus Pocus is an underrated hottie. But anyway, yeah, I totally see that working out. And I think that she, like, when I said, like, she's a wild child at heart, I think she wants to feel, like, some excitement like she did in her younger days, but not to the extent where she's, like, risking her life, So, yeah. Every video, I think, this is it. This is where they unfollow. What I assume this person is talking about is Angelina Jolie did an interview where she had tried to... So, Angelina Jolie, I'm so sorry for the incredibly rude interruption of my fiance ending work and having the nerve to come home.
I'm not even done yet.
Well, anyway, I'm spending quality time with you. Okay, so Angelina Jolie suffered a lot with mental health. I'm so sorry. My fiance wanted to talk to me. And she had already had an attempt to leave this dimension before. So in her mind, oh my God. Anyway, she came up with this way in her mind that was genius, that she could leave this world guiltless. She thought that if she had done it herself, if she had done a DIY, that was an unfunny joke. I'm just trying to figure out ways that this doesn't get banned. You know what I mean? She thought that if she had done it herself or whatever, people in her life that she loved, like her mother and her brother, would be like, oh, we didn't do enough. So instead she hired a hitman. She goes on to say, like, as crazy as it sounds, the person that in that situation that is gone doesn't get all this like blame, and there's more like sorrow and a remembrance of their life versus if she were to do what she had attempted to do before. And she goes on to say it's actually like not that hard to find in New York. And she met with him. She hired a person and she met with him and she said he was a decent guy. And they talked about a cash exchange and how this would work. But at the end of it, she was like, let me, if I want to go through with it, let me talk to you in 2 months. And she never did. But she says that for a long time, she struggled with this. And these feelings left her when she adopted her first child. That she now like felt like she was living for something. Which is crazy because gorgeous, famous, wealthy, and that goes to show that mental health just really fogs and alters and deceives the POV. So a lot of times when we meet with people or we have people in our lives that talk about how sad they are, we always want to say like, you're focusing on the things that you don't have, or like, come on, you're doing so well. And it's just because mental illness really robs you of clarity and reality, right? So that's what happened. I think that's the hitman thing that you're talking about. I just can't believe they met. And she said he was like a cool dude.